And back here on Sports Talk, rolling right along through the LL League Football Coaches Show, and we're in Section 3 for the remainder of the time here. That's where Garden Spot is, and they've seen a lot of fresh and familiar faces coming into the section, and that's what we're going to talk with head coach Matt Zamperini about as we get set to chat with the Spartans head man right now. It's time to bring in Garden Spot's head coach, Matt Zamperini, who has certainly been around the league a year or two. Coach, welcome to the program. And
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, how excited are you to get Garden Spot another season underway here?
I told the guys before our scrimmage the other day, I think we're 53 years old, our program, and no senior class or junior class has invested more in the off season and in last school year, and the programming that we have going through school and different venues like that has spent more time or effort preparing for a season than this group, and it's time for them to show that off.
Yeah, I mean it was a great season last year as you guys shared that Section 3 title, and certainly have some good pieces coming back. But Section 3 looks a little different this year. A lot of different teams coming in. You know, you guys, as I said, are the lone Section 3 defender coming back from that three-way tie. So how's it feel to have Section 3 all shaken up this year?
Well, it's going to be some great football. It's pretty much Section 2 days, from a handful of years ago with a few other good teams in the mix. So it's going to be great football and big challenges every week.
Yeah, it's funny you say that. We literally just had Manheim Central's head coach on, and he said the same thing. You know, a lot of those same memories from the old Section 2. So good to hear. We're excited. We'll certainly have you guys on here in a few weeks. Eric, you want to fire away with some of your questions?
Well, I'm looking at this, and obviously every year you have to go through finding players to replace ones that graduated. And again, I'm going to start at the quarterback position. And, somebody like Kai Harding just doesn't come along very often, having back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing and passing seasons. But you got a kid in A.J. Hurst who, in reading some of the stories leading up to the season, I mean, this sounds like a special kid, and a kid I'm sure you just absolutely love. Last year, knowing he wasn't going to quarterback, saying, all right, coach, just find a spot for me, get me on the field. Well, what you do, he's a first team all-section defensive back, put up great numbers as a receiver. Now he's going to be running your offense at quarterback. Talk about his progress making that transition from receiver to quarterback and what he has shown you so far.
Well, I think the biggest thing about AJ is he's a tremendous competitor. He grew up with Tyler Hurst as his older brother. I'm sure you remember
Yeah.
Tyler a few years ago. But he's Tyler's little brother, and comes from a football family, and they put expectations on themselves, and he's a competitor, and I think ultimately that's what drives him. We've been working on mechanics and running the offense, and that's a huge step. But at the end of the day, I think I'll take the competitor over the refined skill set or the absolute knowledge of everything. I think you can build those things in and build it through game experience. But at the heart of the kid is a tough kid and a great competitor, and he's going to have to rely on that to carry him for a while until he's able to get. You can't replicate. You can go to team camp and the 7-on-7 and interactions and, the spring stuff and all that, but you simply can't replicate first on first under the lights on a Friday. And that's just going to have to be something that we were able to grow him through and get him through and learn and get better. It's that simple.
And I look at it too. Obviously his progression will be a lot easier when you got guys like Jace Conrad and Trent Huber to throw to. I mean, combined, these guys had 79 receptions last year and 21 touchdowns. So that'll make his job a little bit easier knowing he's got those guys to throw to.
Yeah, and there's a few other guys on that list too. Gabe Martin would be the big one, who's an athlete that was a second-team section athlete, just tremendous football player too. Joe Burnick and a couple other guys that fit into that mix as well. So we have he doesn't have to shoulder the load himself. So he needs to you take a real competitive young man, and sometimes they have a tendency to overdo things or put too much on their shoulders. And he just needs to build the discipline to run our offense the way we would like it to be run, and ad lib when he has opportunities, but to not try to do more than in his job.
Yeah, so you've got some experience on the wide out. You got an experienced running back. Just to put the icing on the cake, you got some returning guys on the offensive line as well. So that's got to make you feel good that you got the guys up front to protect Hurst when he's going to throw, but also open the holes for the running game.
We do. We're fairly balanced, and Coach Hauer, I love what he does offensively. I'd put I stay out of his way pretty much. I have questions here and there, but I invest most of my time in the defensive side of the ball. But I'd put Coach Hauer up against any OC in the district. He's tremendously well prepared and he's an excellent offensive mind. So I love our scheme and the way he's using our kids.
All right, so talk about your defense. I mentioned about Hurst and Huber in the secondary. How are you looking up front, and what about your linebacking core?
Well, that's one of the things that we'll have to. We have, you can't play with 11 guys on the field both ways in the gauntlet that we're playing. So our scrimmage, we look real good in the first and the 10-on-10s, but we got younger kids in early. And they took it on the chin a little bit, but that was by design. We got some definitely some provens, like the names that we've already mentioned. But there's I can think of 6-7 guys in the junior class that need growth and need sense of urgency and purpose in that direction. So we're working on building depth. Big linebacker hit was Max Davis, a returning all-star, tough nut, great, very good inside linebacker. He coming off an ACL tear during lacrosse. That was a gut punch for all of us, and him mostly. But we're going to be going to some younger guys on the defensive side of the ball, and we got to get them coached up and ready to play soon, quick.
Boy, it's times like this. I'm sure you wish you had a second preseason game just to get these guys some experience.
Yeah, I miss the old days. I miss the worst part about this is in service and then double sessions at night after in service. That's the worst part about our schedule. But the old days, you had a week in service, a couple days of camp, or week in service. I'm sorry, week of 2 days, couple days of in service, and then you were rolling into your second scrimmage. But I miss the old days of 2 scrimmages and just focus on camp, but It is what it is.
Yeah. Well, maybe at some point that will come back. Who knows? So, all right. So you touched a little bit about the scrimmage against Elko. Tell us some of the things that you like, maybe some of the kids that, shined brightly for you, and some of the things that maybe you still feel need to fine tune.
Well, we got some good play out of our first. Cole Humphreys is an outside linebacker that's a 2-3 year starter for us, and he was the most physical kid that we had on the field. And just watching film and it's little things. It's when you're dealing with some young kids, there's a learning process that's beyond X's and O's. It's just how you honor the game, how you run to the football, how you pick a teammate up, just the character things that are the foundation for the X's and the O's. I think that they're a learning curve and are more important than the X's and O's, but they're a learning curve in and of itself. And some kids that stuff comes to very instinctively, and some kids it needs to be coached and taught into them, and it happens. Obviously, things happen on their own timeline. As a coach, you try to maximize that and speed it up as much as you can. But I've been from Saturday and through practice today and staff and to the kids. That's the big thing that we need to shape. Is I know our knowns. We need to shape our unknowns quickly to be competitive.
Mm-hmm. Now, the one thing that was noted, when the schedules came out, there was a hiccup and a miscue as far as the scheduling is concerned on an open date. Has anything transpired
No,
since you and I
going to
spoke at
be
media day?
it's going to be like Coudersport up in Route 6 up in Elk County had an opening, but we're like, all right, maybe, but they're a single A school, and didn't want to match up against a 5A school, but it will take. I figure there was some really extenuating circumstance why they lost the game, so it's going to take something crazy like that. But I've really tried to refocus myself on the things that I can control and prevent early insanity as long as I can, and that's just another one of those deals.
Well, we won't have you look too far ahead. We want you to look at week 1, and you're coming up against this Notre Dame Green Pond team. You're heading up to our sister station's neck of the woods here to play this Green Pond team. What do you think about going up there, and what have you prepared for these guys?
I told at our practice today when working with the secondary in the shell, I told them, I think of E-Town 2 years ago, and and we had a bunch of sophomores on the field that night, and that's who I like in them too. They have a good quarterback, some skill guys, and they want to run the ball. At least what they've shown is run the ball enough to keep you honest, but they want to throw it over the top. So we're playing E-Town from 2 years ago, and that's what we got a game plan. And they're an established program, well coached, and have been very competitive in the postseason the last several years. So Coach Stambaugh, whenever we were playing Pius back in my last stint, we got to go up and play those guys. So I know his kids are hard nosed and well coached. So it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a challenge, and we've got to go throw our best punch at them.
Yeah, a lot of good wrestlers up at that school, by the way, just as a side
yes,
note.
Sir.
Eric, one last question. Yeah, right. One last question here for the coach.
Well, and again, knowing the strength of this section, how important is it going to be for your Spartans to get off to a couple of early season wins to really get that confidence and momentum going into section?
It's when you're growing and building at critical positions, winning helps. There's no doubt about it. I think winning can accelerate that curve a little bit. A couple early losses, the objectives or the week to week or day to day goals don't change much. It's just the mentality of 16-year-olds, and the positive, staying positive with it. Winning helps, and that's true of every kid and every coach. So,
Coach, you always have. We have about 30 seconds here, but you always have a great mindset, some sort of phrase for the team every year. Do you have that this year?
Yeah, like last little bit, it's been growth, and for I tell you, for more and more kids, and I guess adults too, people like how do you grow? How do you even go about that process? You know what it means, but how do you apply it on a day to day? So we've been really trying to just define for them 3 phases: is work ethic, hard work, sense of urgency, and attention to detail. And I don't care what you're working towards in your life. If you can learn how to grind those 3 things the best you can every day, that you're going to get better at whatever it is you're being asked to do. And you might not be Ray Lewis or Jerry Rice in a day, but man, if you can apply that a little bit each day, you'll get to where you need to be as a young man, as a football player, and someday as a husband and an employee, and as a member of our society. So just being growth mindset and understanding hard work, understanding what sense of urgency means, and learning how to pay attention to detail and owning those things is I think that's the life's mission of a football coach.
And that sounds to me exactly what a Garden Spot football player has been all these years. So thanks for not changing. Thanks for drilling that into the guys. And again, thanks for coming on and sharing your team here with us. Good luck this season. And it's been a pleasure having you.
Appreciate your time, and thanks for your coverage of us.
No problem.
Good luck
this season.
All right, guys.